So picture this. You're driving home, it's been a really long day, your mind is totally wandering, and then, boom, flashing red and blue lights light up your rearview mirror. Your heart rate instantly spikes, right? Within moments, you are thrust into a direct, high-pressure interaction with law enforcement. And the truth is, most of us don't fully understand how phone privacy actually works during these exact types of stressful stops. But knowing your rights here, it isn't just about passing some legal test, it's absolutely fundamental to protecting your entire personal life. So for today's explainer, we're going to treat this like a comprehensive exam review and maybe a bit of a cautionary tale about digital privacy. We are going to completely break down the essential basics of your legal rights during police interactions, giving you a really clear structured blueprint so you are never ever caught off guard.
Okay, so right in the heat of that moment, with your adrenaline pumping and the sheer intimidation of a uniform standing right outside your window, what if a police officer points at your phone and asks for your passcode or tells you to unlock it with your thumbprint? Do you do it? Look, the shock of the situation causes so many well-meaning people to act purely on instinct. They totally bypass the massive legal and privacy ramifications of what they're doing. But handing over that password isn't just a quick, trivial favor. It is a monumental legal decision. We are going to unpack exactly how you should evaluate this moment, step by step, so your brain knows exactly what to do when your instincts are totally clouded by stress.
To keep this fast and focused, we're moving through a critical 5-part checklist. First, phone privacy and data. Second, defining your legal rights. Third, the action checklist. Fourth, crucial mistakes to avoid. And finally, how laws vary by situation.
Let's jump right into Section 1, Phone Privacy and Data, the highly sensitive information living right there in your pocket.
Before we can really dig into the law, we have to talk about what's actually at stake in this cautionary tale. Your phone is not just a piece of glass and metal you carry around to text your friends. It is a literal vault. Think about it. Handing over an unlocked phone means an officer can instantly see your real-time location history, your crypto wallets, your browser history, and every intimate or private message you have ever sent. I mean, the amount of personal data on modern phones is absolutely staggering. Back in the day, a physical search just meant an officer patting down your pockets and maybe finding a leather wallet with a driver's license and a few bucks. But today, access to your phone is basically a backdoor into your bank accounts and an unguarded map of your entire private life. Realizing just how much that little unlock icon actually guards is step number 1 in protecting yourself.
Moving on to Section 2, Defining Your Legal Rights. This is all about understanding consent and searches.
With those crazy high stakes in mind, let's look at the foundational legal baseline. Phone access involves massive privacy questions, and your voluntary consent plays the deciding role here. So let's define this super clearly for our exam review. Consent literally means you are voluntarily agreeing to a phone access request. And why does this matter so much? Because the split second you give consent, you heavily impact your legal privacy rights against searches. If an officer casually asks to see your phone and you unlock it and hand it over, you have typically just consented to a full search. You have voluntarily spun the dial and opened the vault. And here's something crucial. Courts generally view unlocking your phone with your Face ID or your thumbprint as the exact same level of voluntary consent as handing over a written 6-digit passcode. Understanding how this simple act of consent works is the absolute cornerstone of phone privacy.
All right, Section 3, the action checklist. The immediate steps you need to take during a police interaction.
If you ever find yourself in this situation, you absolutely need a behavioral action plan to fall back on. Because when those lights are flashing, you won't have time to Google what to do. Actually, before an officer even steps up to your window, your immediate priority should be safely documenting the encounter. If you're in a car, turn on your dash cam, or just quietly start a voice memo on your phone, and then make sure your hands remain empty and clearly visible on the steering wheel. Once the interaction starts, follow these 3 exact steps. Step 1, stay calm and respectful. This is vital for keeping things de-escalated. Step 2, state your non-consent. You have to vocalize your legal stance clearly. Step 3, do not physically resist. Never ever try to snatch the phone back or block an officer's hand. Following these steps ensures you're protecting your legal rights for later while completely prioritizing your physical safety right now. Now, I want you to memorize this exact phrase, I do not consent to a search. If an officer asks to unlock your device, this is your most polite, yet fiercely protective, legal response. You really don't need to construct some long-winded legal argument. You don't need to become a roadside lawyer, and you certainly shouldn't debate the officer on constitutional rights. If they ask for your password or even hold the phone up to your face to trigger Face ID, just calmly and firmly say that exact phrase. It perfectly executes Step 2 of our checklist. Legally, it firmly establishes on the record that any search happening from that moment on is not happening because you voluntarily gave up your privacy. It essentially forces the officers to rely on other legal justifications, which usually require a judge's oversight.
That brings us to Section 4, Crucial Mistakes to Avoid. Let's talk about what not to do when you're under pressure.
Knowing what to say is great, but knowing what behavior to avoid is just as critical. In high-pressure moments, human nature can completely trick us into making severe errors. There is a very clear right way and a disastrously wrong way to handle this. The right way is polite, calm, respectful refusal. Keep your voice steady, keep your hands visible, and keep it strictly professional. The absolute wrong way, letting your emotions take the wheel. Never yell, no sudden movements, and never try to physically resist or escalate things. Listen, if you tell an officer you do not consent, but they decide to take the device from your hands anyway, let them take it. Just let it happen. Maintain your verbal stance that you don't consent, but offer zero physical resistance. Your legal battle is meant to be fought later in a quiet courtroom with an attorney, never on the side of a busy highway.
Finally, Section 5. Laws vary by situation. We need to talk about why this isn't exactly a magic, impenetrable shield.
We have to add an incredibly important caveat to our review here, because the law is almost never just black and white. While asserting your rights is the gold standard, the actual legal outcome can shift based on a bunch of moving parts. Rules for phone searches totally vary depending on real-world circumstances. For example, if you're at an international border crossing or walking through customs at an airport, agents operate under entirely different, much stricter security rules. They can often compel you to unlock your device in ways a standard beat cop just can't. Or think about exigent circumstances, like an immediate life-or-death emergency, a kidnapping, or a ticking clock scenario. In those intense moments, police might be legally allowed to bypass the warrant requirement entirely. Plus, local laws and evolving court decisions play a massive role. So simply put, your refusal to consent doesn't guarantee the police absolutely cannot get into your phone. It just means they usually have to go to a judge, prove they have probable cause, and get a legal warrant to do it.
So the ultimate question for you is this: are you prepared to calmly protect your privacy? We've wrapped up our masterclass review for this explainer. You now know that your phone is a highly sensitive vault. You understand the critical legal definition of voluntary consent. You've got the action checklist down, including how to safely document an encounter, and you know the exact phrase to say. And most importantly, you know the absolute crucial mistake of ever physically resisting an officer. Keep this mental review fresh in your mind, stay cool under pressure, and always, always know your rights.